All right, today's topic is qualitative and quantitative data. So before we talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about taking notes. Those of you who were with me last year know what I expect from notes, so it's pretty similar to that. But those of you who are new to me, I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. So first off, why do we take notes? So research actually shows that writing things down helps us to remember things. So I'm actually not requiring that you physically write down notes. Typing your notes is also okay this year, given that the situation that we're in. But it is important that you are taking notes in some way. And that's also just a good habit to build for later in school. All right, so how do you take notes? Either a physical notebook or in your online science notebook. I know some of you specifically requested being able to write them down. That's perfectly fine with me for this year. All right, and what should we write down? So definitely write down any vocab words that you're hearing, right? I usually have like the vocab word posted at the top of a slide, and you know that that's important. You know that you should write that down. You can also be writing down anything that's interesting or sticks out to you. And then also usually things with numbers are good to write down. So if I say like the sun is, ooh, caught me, 500 million miles away. Somebody check that, email me, bonus point. Then you should write down that, right? If I'm citing a number, it's probably important, except in this case when I didn't know what the number was. All right, so now that we've talked about why we take notes, go ahead and get settled in. If you know what this animal is, this is another one of my favorite animals, send me an email. The first person to email me the correct animal name will get a bonus point on this homework. All right, so you should have your notebook out, or you should be ready to type in your Google Doc, your online science journal. And let's get started on this qualitative and quantitative data. So qualitative data is anything that's descriptive, it's not numbers based, and sometimes it involves some opinion. So we call that subjective. It involves the viewer's opinion. So examples of qualitative data that you might do at your site are it feels warm out, the grass is soft and fluffy, the squirrel is happy. So these are all things that would be perfectly fine for you to write down in your science, in your fieldwork observation notes. These are all perfectly fine, but we do need to know that that's qualitative data. So we just want to be able to figure out which is qualitative and which is quantitative. Both are okay for your fieldwork. All right, and that's a happy squirrel. Okay, quantitative data. So quantitative data is pretty easy to figure out which of your observations are quantitative. Quantitative means something to do with numbers. So your quantitative data is going to involve numbers in some way. So some examples that I have of that are the temperature is 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The grass length is 2 inches. There are 389 squirrels. Hopefully you're not at a site that has 389 squirrels. That would be too many. So all of these are similar to the ones that we saw before, but they're more specific. They involve an actual measurement of what's happening at your fieldwork. I hope I don't have 389 squirrels on here. Okay, good. Okay, so that's it for qualitative and quantitative data. We're going to do a couple of quick practices. So you can either pause, or I'm just going to like stop talking for a sec between each of these. And I want you to just either think it or say it out loud. Is this qualitative or quantitative? So the tree has a lot of big green leaves. Qualitative or quantitative? All right, so that's an example of qualitative data. I know that because it says it has a lot of big green leaves, right? So we're kind of talking about a number, but we're not giving a specific number, right? We're not saying that it has 575 green leaves. It's unlikely that you would ever actually count the number of leaves, but this is saying it has big green leaves. That's qualitative. All right, there are 34 robins or birds by the puddle. Is that qualitative or quantitative? So that one is quantitative. It involves a number. Somebody actually counted this statistic and put it in their fieldwork. All right, and last one, the tree is 6 feet high. Is this qualitative or quantitative? All right, and so that's another example of quantitative data because they are actually tracking a direct measurement and putting it in their notes. All right, that's all I have for you today. After you watch this video, you should go to the Google form and answer the questions that are there, and we'll talk about this more in class. See you there.